People in their 40s tend to think, oh, I'm never going to retire, or I've totally missed out, or I should have started investing when I was 25. There's a myth that you have to work 40 years to become financially independent or to be able to retire. That's just not true. You can do this in 10 to 15 years. So let's look at what my client did differently. All of that money becomes employees that go to work for you. So remember, we're lifelong investors. Financial independence is not about when you started. It's about being intentional with your investments and increasing them over time until you reach that number that allows you to live off of 4% of your overall number. People in their 40s tend to think, oh, I'm never going to retire, or I've totally missed out, or I should have started investing when I was 25. There's a myth that you have to work 40 years to become financially independent or to be able to retire. That's just not true. You can do this in 10 to 15 years. And I actually think there's a benefit for people who are in their 40s. They tend to be more disciplined. They tend to be more focused. They actually generally earn more money, so they have more to invest. And in their 40s, their kids are moved out and they have more disposable income to put into investments. So let's look at what my client did differently. Step number one, increase your investment. So my client started out with $2,000 a month. I'm going to show you exactly what she invested in. And over time, she increased that amount. So she was putting the $2,000 in per month, and every single month she would try to put in more. So she's going to increase the amount that she's putting in there. If she gets a raise, she puts it in. She actually got annual bonuses, and she would put the entire thing inside her investment account. So over time, she's increasing the amount because she has a shorter period of time to invest. She's increasing the amount that she's investing. I want you to think about your savings rate. And a lot of people in their 40s can invest up to 50% of their income. If they've paid off debt, or if the kids have moved out and their expenses are lower, maintaining the lifestyle but continue to increase the amount that you can put into an investment account. And then all of that money becomes employees that go to work for you. They never call in sick. They never have to take a day off. They never need vacation. They just keep going to work for you. And then they create baby dollars and then grandbaby dollars that continue to compound over time. So you want to be able to increase the amount that you can invest over time. Anytime you get a raise, you can contribute more to your 401k or more to a brokerage account. Anytime you get a bonus or a tax refund, or your grandma gives you $10,000. I actually see that all the time. Grandma gives you $20,000. Instead of buying a car, put that in an investment account. It's going to be worth so much more later. Step number two, she put all of her money in VTI or VOO, which is an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in the US. Examples are Apple, Microsoft, Walmart, Facebook. And so she put her money in that and had tremendous growth. She actually started in '08. So this is Google Finance. Let's look at when she started investing. So she started investing actually right after '08. A lot of people who were old enough to remember '08 are somewhat emotionally scarred, but '08 was a really good time to make a lot of money. So she jumped into the market and happened to be 45 years old at that time and jumped into the market when the market was suppressed. The prices of the shares were suppressed. So on this chart, you can see that she is jumping into the market when the market is down. And from '08 until now, we have almost a 800% return, which is phenomenal. So she had a lot of market growth, and you'll have a lot of market growth, even more now than when she invested. So she put her money into VTI and then she let it go. Wasn't complicated with her investment strategy. She put it into one thing and she let it go. You want to think in decades And not just years. If you're 40 years old, you have the rest of your life to retire. You don't want to think, oh, I've only got another 10 years or another 15 years. You actually want your money to compound for the rest of your life. One of the biggest mistakes people make is when they're 65, they take all of their money out of the stock market and they put it into bonds and money market. So if we look at the comparison between the S&P 500 and what bonds are going to bring us. So if we look at the S&P 500 and the returns over time from that, we want to be invested. We want to think like a long-term investor with a minimum of 20 years, because over a 20-year period of time, the market has never been negative. It's only been positive over any 20-year period, including wars and like things like '08 when the market goes down. So you can see investing in '08 is going to give a huge amount of return. It's also like even higher now. And so this is something we want to get into the S&P. We want to stay in the S&P. And that's going to give us a ton of growth over time. We don't want to pull our money out at 65 and throw it into bonds. All right, let's look at a calculator and see how this is possible over a 10-year period of time. So remember, we're lifelong investors, but there is a myth that you have to work for 40 years to become financially independent. So we're going to look at a smartasset.com calculator. And this is, if she started with $160,000 at age 45, she had already saved up $160,000 in her 401k, so her tax sheltered account. And then she started out with $2,000, but she also added in every single bonus and then every time she got a raise. So eventually over time, she's going to increase the amount. So I've put here $8,000, and it was probably less in the beginning and more in the end, but I wanted to average this out to show what's possible. She was putting this in on a monthly basis, and I've also put a 16% rate of return. Some people who are getting a 8% or even a 3 to 6% return are going to say, whoa, how can you get a 16% rate of return over 10 years? Actually, after '08, all the way to when she became financially independent, the market was in a massive recovery. So a lot of those years, we actually have on record that the S&P got a 30% return for several years in a row. So averaging out at 16% is actually not that hard, especially if you're a lifelong investor and you invest more when the market goes down. So you can see over a 10-year period of time, this ends up to be $3,124,627. And if we apply the safe withdrawal rate, which is 4%, then we can take out $120,000 per year from this $3 million. So we're going to take out 4% and we're going to allow the other 96% to continue to grow and compound. Now, this has to be in the stock market. This can't be in a money market account. It can't be in a savings account. So my client can easily live on $120,000. She doesn't have any debt, and the amount that she has in her nest egg will continue to grow every single year. Financial independence is not about when you started. It's about being intentional with your investments and increasing them over time until you reach that number that allows you to live off of 4% of your overall number. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more tips.